Economics paper 2, 2019, paper 2 of 2. Why? October, November, thank you. Driverless cars and advances in technology. It is predicted that driverless cars powered by electricity will be on the roads by 2030. Driverless cars have already been tried out on the roads in some cities, including Petersburg in the USA. It is thought that driverless cars will reduce accidents, will have lower repair costs, and will create less pollution. These are the advantages of driverless cars. At first, the supply of driverless cars may exceed the demand, but it is expected that they will soon grow in popularity. As more driverless cars come into use, the demand for bus travel and petrol stations may decline, and some taxi drivers may be made redundant. In contrast, the increased access to our transport that driverless cars will give to people, including the elderly, is likely to increase demand for out-of-town restaurants and places of entertainment. It has been forecast that the technology being developed in connection with driverless cars will make the supply of them elastic. It is predicted that means the supply will meet up with the demand. It is predicted that an 8% rise in the price of driverless cars would cause a 20% rise in the quantity supplied. Advances in technology and the replacement of workers by machines are forecast to destroy 80 million jobs in the US. Job losses are also forecast in other countries, and trade unions are likely to be less able to resist this due to a fall in membership and government reducing the power of trade unions. Two things is going to happen there. Trade unions, they won't have more members because when members are out of job. So I can't be a trade union when I'm out of job. And so governments might use laws, regulations to reduce their power. So they won't have that power to negotiate. Demand for workers in other occupations including doctors, dentists, may increase, but there's a risk that unemployment may rise. The more educated workers are, the more easily they can move from one occupation to another. We call these the more educated workers are, the more easily they can move from one occupation to another. We call that occupational mobility. The flexibility of workers to be able to switch from one job or one occupation to another. Just like I was a banker, now I'm a teacher. That's occupational mobility. But it needs education because that will give you the flexibility to learn, to unlearn, and to relearn. Yes. So we have the table here. So we have a country education spending as a percentage of GDP, employment rate as a percentage, okay? So job selling houses and flats may decline, but it is expected that demand for building workers may increase. Some people welcome house buildings in their area, but others oppose it. Now, the first question says, identify from the extract 2 pairs of substitutes. So when we look at the extract, the pair of substitutes we have are driverless cars and taxi box travel. Yeah, driverless cars. 2 substitutes.
For the driverless car, right?
Yeah, driverless cars and bus travel.
Yeah.
Bus travel and taxi drivers. They are all substitutes. I think that is clear.
Yes.
All right, we'll go to question 2. They said, explain using information from the extract whether the market for driverless cars is expected to be in equilibrium in 2030. According to the extract, they said it is expected that, let me see, show where they have it. So I said at first the supply of driverless cars may exceed the demand. So that is, it's a no thing there. So driverless cars market cannot reach equilibrium by 2030. It cannot. Do you get it? Yeah, look at the second paragraph. They said at first the supply of driverless cars may exceed the demand, but it's expected that will soon grow in popularity. So that means supply will exceed demand. So that means it cannot reach equilibrium. So the question is asking that, explain using information from the extract whether the market for driverless cars is expected to be in equilibrium in 2030. It cannot. So according to the extract, it is expected that supply will exceed demand. This means driverless cars market cannot reach equilibrium by 2030. I think that is clear.
Yes.
So go to question 3. C. Calculate using information from the extract the price elasticity of supply of driverless cars. First, what is price elasticity of supply? Price elasticity of supply is the degree of responsiveness between the quantity supply of a product as a result of a change in price. So it is percentage change in quantity supplied over percentage change in price. We have 20% change in quantity supplied divided by 8% change in quantity of price. So that gives us 2.5. I think that is clear.
Yes.
We go to question, though I did the analysis here anyway. So we go to question D. They said, explain using information from the extract two external costs that driverless cars could reduce. What they are trying to tell us here is that without driverless cars, what are the substitutes creating? What type of external cost are the substitutes creating? Did you get the point now? Without the driverless cars,
yes.
what are the problems the substitutes to driverless cars are creating? Now, that's the external cost. Now, the driverless cars will solve them. Do you get it? So we look back to the extract.
First paragraph.
The first paragraph, they said, okay.
Reduce accidents.
It will reduce accidents caused by other motorists. That's as an external cost.
And create less pollution.
We create less pollution. That means with driverless cars, there will be less emission of carbon. That's the point there. I think it's clear. That's 1D. So we go to 1E. They said, analyze using table the relationship between educational spending and the unemployment rate. According to the table, they said, according to the table, there is inverse relationship between education and unemployment. Firstly, countries like the US and New Zealand, they spend large proportion of their GDP on education. As a result, it shows that their level of unemployment is reducing. That was the first point there. The second point I'm making here is about workers. Yeah, I said workers can be more skilled and productive, which means taxes can be charged based on their employment and be charged based on, 1E, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I talked about the workers too. Because when workers are educated, it means they become more skilled. And if they are more skilled, what happens to productivity? Productivity will be increased. And as soon as productivity increases, they even become attractive to employers. So that means they can easily get jobs. And if they are able to get jobs, what happens? They will have more income.
Yes.
And government income on taxes will increase. Do you understand? Yes. Okay. So there's always a relationship between, as government income taxes increases, what happens? They will be able to invest more on production of goods or services, which allow them to also employ more workers. Do you get the point we're making here?
Yes.
Education will improve the skills of workers. Workers become attractive to employers. As employers employ more workers, government taxes on income would increase. As government taxes increase on income, or as government taxes increases, government can spend on health, government can spend on infrastructure. With infrastructure, a lot of companies, multinationals will come into the country because there's good road, there's good road network, there's communication, good communication, there's electricity. More multinational companies will come in. As soon as they come in, they employ more workers. I think that is clear.
Yes.
However, Argentina spent lower proportion of GDP on education than Ghana, but still have lower unemployment than Ghana. So those are the points there. I think it's clear.
Yes.
All right. So we go to question F. Discuss whether or not an increase in house building will benefit the people who live in the area. Yeah, I said increase in house building will benefit the people who live in that area based on the following reasons. One, house building will increase the supply of housing, which makes house prices to fall, becomes affordable for people. That's the first point. The second point I make is that lower price of housing may become affordable for houses for people. That reduces the number of destitutes in the street. That's second, and living standards could help. So the third point I talked about is house building will create employment because they have to employ workers to build those houses, yes or no? So it will create employment opportunity. And the employment opportunity is created, income level would rise. People also will be able to afford goods and services, improving the standard of living. Clear?
Yes.
Any question about that? So go to question G. They said, explain using information from the extracts. 2 reasons why the power of trade unions may decline in the future. It is already said there. With unemployment, are you with me, please?
Yes.
With unemployment, when people are out of job, there's no reason for them to be part of trade union. So membership will fall. As membership falls, trade unions becomes less popular. So they won't be able, who do they want to negotiate for? And 2, government might reduce the power of trade union through legislation. Do you understand? Do you understand? We're talking about reasons why the power of trade unions might decline in the future. One is if unemployment increases in the future. If unemployment increases in the future, people don't have jobs. So what's the point being a trade union member? What does the trade union want to negotiate for when they don't even have job? So they become less popular. 2, governments might use legislation to reduce the power of trade union. Legislation, laws. Government have different laws.
Yeah.
So these laws might reduce the power of trade union. And if it reduces the power, trade union would not be able to fight for the rights of workers. So workers will feel like there's no point having trade union because they are toothless bulldog. That's the point. Is it clear?
Yes.
So that's G. Have it, please. We go to H. Are you there?
Yes.
They said, discuss whether or not a rise in unemployment is harmful. First, you define unemployment. Unemployment is a situation whereby those that are willing, able to work, and are within the age category to work, seek for employment but couldn't get one. That is unemployment. So unemployment is harmful based on the following reasons. 1, it might increase poverty.
Yes.
How? As the level of income will fall. If the level of income falls because of unemployment, people won't be able to afford the basic needs. Poverty increases. So it reduces government revenue because government will not be able to make income taxes. So as government revenue reduces, government will not be able to spend on health and education. And if government is unable to spend on health and education, how will productivity increase? How will the skills of workers increase? Unemployment is a problem. And the third point is about social vices. Unemployment is just like they said, an idle mind. An idle hand is the devil's workshop. Because you are jobless. We think about negative things: vandalization, thuggery, burglary, stealing, and the rest. So these are social vices. Is it clear? So that is question 1. Have it, please. Go to question 2. Are you there?
Yes.
It is predicted that the UK economy will avoid another recession in the next 2 decades, and that its population will increase significantly by 2040. Most of these predicted increase will come from immigration. I mean, a lot of people will come. By 2040, it is also expected that 1 in 12 people will be aged over 80. A number of countries, including some low income countries, may have a more rapid population growth rate than high income countries. Wow. So the first question: identify 2 reasons why people are living longer. People are living longer because of better living standards and higher incomes. Because when you have high incomes, this gives you possibility to spend more on healthcare and the rest. So identify 2 reasons why people are living longer. One of the first reasons is better living standards. When we talk about better living standards, it implies that you are able to, your livelihood, you have accessibility to good health, you have accessibility to good food nutrition. That means you take balanced diet. This is a better living standard too. So the second point is higher incomes. When you have high income, that gives you opportunity to take care of your health, even without government helping you. That gives you opportunity to be educated without government help. that gives you opportunity to do whatever you want to do that's going to add value or that's going to improve your livelihood. So these are reasons why people can be able to live longer. You're able to do exercise, you'll be able to go to whatever you need to do that makes you to have a very solid health. You will do it because you can afford it. I think that is clear. The second point, the second question, they said, explain 2 reasons why net immigration may increase the standard of living in the country. Yeah, I would say net immigration may increase the standard of living in the country through the following ways. 1, the size of the labor force. What happens with the size of the labor force? The size of the labor force will increase. So if the size of the labor force increases, output in that economy will increase. And as a result of that, there's going to be high GDP. So if there's high GDP, it means GDP per head will increase. That was the first point.
Yes.
The second point I make is about the migrants. Migrants coming into the country will inject skills, ideas into the economy. Yes or no? Into the labor market. And if this is happening, it increases productivity. Migrants will come into your country, right? Yes. Immigrants, they come into your country. Yes. When they come into your country, they come with skills, ideas, knowledge. That improves your labor market. Yes or no?
Yes,
the quality of goods and services you will produce will be better than what it used to be. Isn't it?
Yes.
Productivity will increase. That's another point there. The third point, okay, I think they said 2 reasons why.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, that's true. The third point, question C. Analyze how fiscal policy could be used to stop a recession. First, what is fiscal policy? Fiscal policy is the use of taxation or government spending to manipulate or to correct the economy. So here I go. Okay, it could be used in the following ways to stop recession. 1, tax cuts on income. So government could cut taxes on income. That's income tax. If government cuts income taxes, what happens? Disposable income will increase. Yes or no?
Yes.
That's the first point there. And as disposable income increases, the purchasing power of household will increase. So if purchasing power increases, that means household spending on goods and services will increase. Living standard improves. Because now they start spending.
Yes.
What is recession? And an economic decline for 2 consecutive quarters. So economic decline is based on aggregate demand falling. So now aggregate demand will increase. Yes or no? Yes. Because people now have money to spend. A cut in corporation tax. If government cut, that's another way to stop recession. Government could cut corporation tax, taxes on profit. If government cuts taxes on profit, it makes profit to increase for firms. As a result, firms might be motivated. It might be an incentive for firms to expand their operations. Expanding their operations will make them need more workers. So the demand for workers will increase. The aggregate demand will increase. It will reduce unemployment too.
Yes.
Is it clear?
Yes.
So go to D. It said discuss whether or not low-income countries have a faster rate of population growth than high-income countries. Yeah, I said low-income countries have a faster rate of population growth than high-income countries based on the following reasons. 1, they may lack education, which means they lack awareness about childbirth control. 2, they may have high birth rates due to less number of women in employment. Because it's a low-income country. So it's definitely job is for men.
Yes. So
women are not working. As a result, they can give birth to more children. Another reason why, which I didn't write, but I'm going to say it now, is government increase in government social benefit on child care. So if government increases child benefits, so this gives them incentive to give birth to more children. Is it clear?
Yes.
And I make the yeah. Now the third one I make, I said government might have improved healthcare facility. So improvement in healthcare facility would mean that people can live longer. Do you understand?
Yes.
Now that will reduce low infant mortality. So children will not die. So population can increase. Clear?
Yes.
And the last one I make here is that they may have large percentage of population in the primary sector, meaning more children will be needed. So low-income countries, basically they are in the primary sector of the economy. Yes or no?
Yes.
Because they are in the primary sector of the economy, they need more workers. Isn't it?
Yes.
So that might encourage them to give birth to more people because the older ones don't have the physicality to work. So they need young blood to replace the ones that are getting tired. That could increase the population, isn't it?
Yes.
Is it clear?
Yes.
So that's what question 2. Shall we move on?
Yes.
Question 3. In 2015, the Malaysian government set out its objectives to increase productivity and savings. There has been higher consumer expenditure driven in part by higher wages received mainly by old workers. However, low levels of savings remain a concern. Saving provides funds for investment spending on capital goods, which contributes to economic growth and can influence inflation. Identify 2 ways a government could encourage saving. So for government to encourage saving, government can increase the interest rate, or government could also provide information about the importance of savings.
Or decrease or cut income tax.
Cut income tax, thank you. So these are reasons why people can save. Because when government cuts income taxes, disposable income increases and people might be able to save.
Yes.
I think that is clear. We go to B. Explain 2 reasons why productivity may increase. Productivity may increase through the following ways. 1, investment in capital goods. When you invest in capital goods like equipment, machinery, technology,
Yes.
productivity will increase because it will be efficient.
Yes.
2, improvement in education and training. Improvement in education and training will improve the skills of workers, then they can be more productive.
Yeah.
We go to 3C. They say analyze how an increase in investment could influence inflation. An increase in investment could influence inflation based on the following reasons. 1, investment in capital goods may increase aggregate demand, which means demand in the economy would rise. And if demand increases in the economy, that will lead to demand pull inflation.
Yeah.
That's the first point. The second point is investment in capital goods may increase cost of production for firms because it means they are investing on machinery, equipment, technology. And if this is done, cost of production increases. That might lead to cost push inflation. And the third point I'm making here is about aggregate demand again. As aggregate demand increases, firms might need to employ more workers. And if they do employ more workers, income level would rise. That gives income level will rise. That brings about aggregate demand increasing, leading to demand pull inflation. Firms might, that's for demand pull, income level will rise. I didn't talk about cost. Income level, because employment increases.
Oh, yeah.
Income level would rise.
Yes.
Another point we could make is about increase in wages, which means cost of production would increase, cost push inflation. Clear?
Yes.
That's 3C, right?
Yeah. Now,
okay. Okay. Have this. 3D.
Yes.
D. They said, discuss whether or not old workers are paid more than young workers. Yeah, I said older workers might be paid more than younger workers based on the following is 1, they have more experience in the job, so that could make them to get more pay. So they might have been with the employer for a long period of time.
They know the rules, they know the.
So this might lead to promotion. The top point I make is that they might make fewer mistakes. So that makes them to be more attractive to employers than young ones coming that could make a lot of mistakes. And the fourth point I make is about some older workers have been there for long and they could be rewarded for that. So because they are being rewarded, they might get more pay than you.
That's promotion, right?
No. Reward is not promotion. Promotion is an upliftment from your position to another position. That is not a reward.
So what's the last point?
Reward here. Financial reward.
No, yeah.
I said, some older workers might be rewarded for staying with the same employer for a long period of time. They could give them rewards, like the one they did in my school. They gave teachers that have spent 6 years TV screen. So because they get TV screen, I have to buy a TV screen. Their income level increases more than me. Is it clear?
Yes.
So we go to question 4. So here they said, Mali is a developing country. Its human index HDI goes from 0.297 in 2000 to 0.442 in 2016. Most of Mali's workers are employed in agriculture and cotton. That is in the primary sector. Is the country cotton, which is the country's main agricultural crop. The country's main exporter, however, is gold. The country is the 3rd largest exporter of gold in Africa. Wow. A, identify 2 components of HDI. When you talk about components of HDI, we're talking about life expectancy, we're talking about education, that's literacy, I'm talking about GDP per head.
Well, living standard, right?
living standard, life expectancy. Okay,
Life expectancy and
education,
education. Okay.
and also GDP per head.
Yes, GDP.
That's for HDI. Then the second question says, explain how the proportion of the country's resources devoted to the primary, secondary, and tertiary sector changes as the economy develops. Economic development comes about how resources are being used and allocated. Most of countries that are in the primary sector, the resources used are always in the primary. The resources used, most of the countries that are in the primary sector, they are considered. Most of the countries that use more resources in the primary sector, they are considered as developing or underdeveloped countries because their large population, the large proportion of their workforce is in the primary sector. As they start developing, they start investing in the secondary sector, which is about manufacturing and construction. So being in the manufacturing and construction line sector means you become developing, you are developing. As soon as you become efficient, where you start thinking about using resources for services, that brings you to the tertiary sector. So in the primary sector, resources are more used as in the primary sector, they use more of raw materials. In the secondary sector, they've converted these raw materials. These are countries that are developing. They consider them as developing. And in the tertiary sector, they are considered as countries that are developed. I think it's clear.
Yes.
Question C. It said, analyze using a demand and supply diagram. Are you there?
Yeah.
It said, analyze using the demand and supply diagram how a fall in the price of cotton would affect the market for cotton shirts. So when we talk about cotton, cotton becomes a raw material for cotton shirts, yes or no?
Yes.
So the graph will be this. So they said an increase in the price of cotton would mean that the cost of raw material, which is cotton, would reduce. As the cost of raw material reduces, firms will be able to buy more raw materials. Firms that produce cotton shirts.
They will benefit from economic scale.
Let's don't deviate to economics of scale here. What we're saying is this: the price of cotton has reduced. Cotton is a raw material used by cotton firms. So firms that sell cotton shirts or produce cotton shirts. This reduces their cost of production. As their cost of production reduces, the price will fall. The supply would increase, shifting the supply curve rightward from S to S1. And the quantity produced would increase from Q1 to Q2. And the price would have fallen from P1 to P2.
What about demand? Is it going to be the same?
No, this is supply. This is about supply. This is about consumer or suppliers. So the demand is just going to be there. But we're talking about what happens to firms that produces cotton shirts if the price of cotton reduces. If the price of cotton reduces, the cost of raw material reduces for firms that produce cotton shirts. As this happens, they will be able to produce more because the price would have fallen, shifting the supply curve rightward from S to S1, S1 to S2. And at the same time, the price will fall from P1 to P2, and the quantity supplied will expand from Q1 to Q2. I think it's clear.
Yes.
So I wrote the analysis. This is the analysis and the graph. I think it's clear.
Yeah.
And the last question here is part of it. You have the last question there, but okay, you can have it. You can have it. That's okay. It said, discuss whether or not an increase in the size of the country's gold mining industry will benefit an economy. If a gold mining, the gold mining industry increases, that means the supply of gold will increase. If the supply of gold increases, the price of gold might fall. Yes or no?
Yes.
That's the first point. The second point, I think I mentioned, is about using resources. Because mining of gold is in the primary sector of is in the primary sector of the economy.
Yes, fine. Workers
in the primary sector are paid less. Yes or no?
Yes.
So if they are paid less, that means their level of income is low. So they might still be wallowing in poverty. So they might be wallowing in poverty, which is not good. Another reason for mining is this. Mining will create environmental damage, either pollution or environmental environmental, what did I use there? Environmental damage,
Yeah.
right? Or what did I use there?
The section of global cause environmental mental damage.
Yeah, environmental damage and
Yeah.
pollution, okay? And what else did I say about that?
Destruction to the natural environment.
Yeah, destruction to natural environment. That's environmental damage.
Yes.
So, and the last thing about mining is that they might use up resources. And using up resources means gold might finish because it is what do we call them? They are irreplaceable. What do we call them?
Non-renewable.
They are non-renewable.
Mm.
So as soon as they are done, it's finished. So that means there's no sustainable development. The future generation will not meet anything. Is it clear?
Yes.
So that ends our question 1 to 4. Any question about that?
No.
So